I'm Anne Gibbs and I'm an artist based in Cardiff, and I'm here at the Canfas Gallery in Cardigan, West Wales for my solo exhibition titled Shift. And really the exhibition is very much an overview of my current creative practice. So it includes drawings and ceramic sculptures, and they all highlight different ways of working and have different surfaces, techniques, and different ways of creating works. So here are my most earliest works, and they're all cast objects. And really what I like to do is to collect objects from antique shops, car booths, or from the local woodlands near where I live. I walk every day in an ancient woodland, and I collect and gather images, or I collect sticks, branches, and I then cast them if I feel that the shape is quite interesting in another material. So really what I tend to do is repurpose the works and restage them. So for example, this was an arm of a chandelier, and I cast that in bone china. And here's some lichen that I've dipped in casting slip. And this was a piece of work that I cast and I didn't like it, and I sliced it. So I like working intuitively with the material and just being playful with the process, really. This one here, I filled 2 latex gloves with plaster, and then I made a mould of the form, and obviously it looks like a heart. So a lot of the works that I make tend to look quite bodily or have some kind of reference to the body, and I don't know why that is. It just sits with me. It's always with me, and I don't do it intentionally, but I think it's because I like ambiguous works, and that's what draws me in. So I think it comes out subconsciously, really. So here we've got my most recent works, and these are a very big departure to how I normally work. So here I've got, I started hand building and using porcelain paper clay and staining porcelain as well. And this piece here is really inspired by seeing moss completely covered in the woodlands when it's covered over trees or boulders, and I find it really beautiful but also quite unsettling as well, and I wanted to evoke that feeling that I sense when I'm walking in the woods. And and what I've liked about working this way is the pace is much slower. So, and obviously I didn't know what this was exactly going to come out like until it was fired in the kiln. And I do enjoy that sense of surprise, that element of surprise that you don't know what you're going to get. And here we've got my drawings. So my drawings really are very much about mark making, and I've also liked working very slowly with these images, so pooling the watercolour, leaving them dry, and then going back, and it's really about watching the edges and placing and building up the image around the edges, and they eventually form to a shape that I like, and really they exist in themselves. And I love having these 2 parts to my practice, drawing and making with clay. Here is a form that I made myself, which obviously looks quite puffy and you think it's soft. And this is a piece of latex. Really, this came about from being in my studio, and I wanted to play with the sense that it was filled with liquid and it would pour. And here we've got a dish with lots of little details inside, And this really is going back to works that I made many years ago of wrapping and hiding and camouflaging. And I've made lots and lots of these, but for the show I decided just to put one piece in, and I tend to work in pairs. I notice the exhibition, a lot of the works are set in pairs as well. So this form here is how I basically stitched a piece of fabric together, filled it with plaster, and then I made a mould of that. And it looks a bit like a punching glove. And this mould is how I made this piece here. So I press moulded the clay into that mould, and I flipped it and worked and manipulated it. So I tend to have a very specific starting point, but I like to play and see it. You know, I work with the material until I like the form, really. And these works here came about from the pandemic, and all my casting slip had dried, and it was all thickened, and I couldn't get any materials. So I started adding water to the slip, and just pouring onto a plaster base, and then this was my first time that I started working with adding colour with porcelain. And obviously they look very much like confectionery and cakes. I had gone to Japan in 2015. I had a Arts Council of Wales Creative Wales Award, and I went to Japan and I had ikebana lessons, the art of flower arranging, and that really taught me very much about selection and placement. And I also went to Toreya. It's an old confectionery store in Tokyo, and the confectionery on display there were like mini sculptures, and the colours, I loved them. So that really has fed into my practice, really, of introducing colours to my work as well. So, thank you.